The night began with laughter hollow, echoing through the marble halls of the Vance mansion. It was the kind of laughter that sounded more like mockery than joy, the kind that stung, the kind that made the maid's hands tremble as she clewed the table. The crystal plates slipped from her grip, a crash, a shattering symphony that silenced the room. For a moment, no one breathed. Then came the voice of Mrs. Vance, sharp and cold as the glass shards glittering on the floor. "Do you know how much that cost?" she hissed. The maid Lena stammered an apology, her knees trembling as she bent to pick up the pieces. Mr. Vance sneered. "These people, they can't even hold a plate right." Their daughter giggled behind a manicured hand. The laughter returned. Louder, crueler. Lena cut her hand on a shard. Blood beaded on her palm, bright and perfect like a ruby against her pale skin. She didn't cry. She didn't flinch. She just whispered, "I'm sorry," again and again. But something in her voice was shifting, cracking. That night, after they went to bed, Lena stayed awake in the servants' quarters. The broken plates were gone, but she could still hear them shatter in her head. Again and again. Each sound heavier, angrier. The walls seemed to hum with it. The old house had always been strange doors that groaned, mirrors that flickered, but tonight it felt alive, watching. She stared into the tiny mirror above her cot. Her reflection didn't blink when she did. Her eyes tired, red, hollow, seemed to bind with something that wasn't light. Something else. Something that had been waiting. The next morning, Mrs. Vance found her favorite porcelain figurine broken on the floor, the one she had always bragged about owning. She screamed for Lena, who appeared quietly, her bandaged hand still red beneath the gauze. "Did you do this?" Mrs. Vance spat. Lena looked at the shards, then at her own reflection in the polished marble. "Maybe," she said softly, "or maybe it just fell." That afternoon, the house grew colder. Lights flickered. The air thickened. Even the family dog whimpered at shadows that moved too slowly to be human. By sunset, the family gathered for dinner, their last together. The chandelier above them swayed, though no wind passed through. The crystal droplets jingled like laughter. Mr. Vance's fork snapped in half when he tried to cut his steak. The daughter, Hazel, shrieked. "It's just metal," he said. But his voice cracked too, uncertain. Then, faintly, they heard glass breaking again. From the kitchen, then the hallway, then behind the walls. Lena appeared in the doorway. Her uniform was spotless, her face pale but calm. In her hand, she held a single shard of glass, the same one that had cut her palm. She placed it on the table in front of them. "You remember this?" she asked. "You broke me with this." The lights went out. Screams tore through the darkness. Mr. Vance stumbled, trying to reach the switch, but the floor beneath him cracked like ice. The chandelier fell not straight down, but twisted, as if guided by unseen hands crashing beside him, scattering shards across his face. Blood met glass. Hazel's sobs echoed, but when she tried to run, she slipped. The mirrors along the hall began to warp, reflections bending, melting until her face appeared stretched and screaming from every angle. Mrs. Vance tried to call Lena's name, but her voice caught. Her throat burned. She stumbled into the kitchen, and there in the sink were the dishes, perfectly arranged, spotless. But when she touched one, it bled. Red streaks running down the porcelain like tears. Behind her, Lena's whisper, "You told me to clean until they sparkled." Mrs. Vance turned and gasped. Lena's eyes glowed faintly, twin embers in the dark. The burning eyes, the same eyes that had watched them mock her, the same eyes that now reflected everything they had done. "You broke my spirit," Lena said softly, "so I broke your peace." The walls began to drip. Not water, but something thicker. The paintings sagged as if the house itself was mourning. The scent of iron filled the air. Hazel's screams faded into a gurgle. Mr. Vance's hand clawed for the doorknob, but it twisted away from him. Every window reflected Lena's face. Dozens of her, smiling faintly, sadly. By the time the neighbors came the next morning, the mansion was silent. Too silent. The family was gone. Only the echo of broken glass remained. The police found Lena sitting calmly in the garden, her hands folded in her lap, her eyes empty. She didn't resist when they took her away. "What happened in there?" an officer asked. She looked up, smiling faintly. "Nothing," she whispered. They finally saw themselves. As they led her past the house, a single window cracked a spiderweb of fractures spreading slowly, like veins. And for a split second, through the fractured glass, a pair of glowing eyes blinked. The house seemed to breathe again, and the faint sound of dishes breaking echoed, just once, as if it remembered. They broke her spirit. She broke their peace. Psychological horror, supernatural revenge, haunted realism, guilt that bleeds through glass.